everybody, welcome to the another session of SUG Bangalore. Today we are going to see 15 ways of content migration in Sitecore. Before starting anything, let me quickly introduce myself. My name is Surendra Sharma. I am Associate Director in Nagaro. Overall, I have 16 plus years of experience in Microsoft technology, and in Sitecore, I am working from more than a decade. I'm a Sitecore certified, MongoDB certified, Microsoft certified. Till now, I have successfully implemented more than 20 plus projects on the Sitecore side. I'm running a blog website where I have published more than 200 blog articles on Sitecore. I'm author of 8 ebooks on Sitecore. Apart from that, I have also developed 5 reusable modules available on Sitecore Marketplace. And I have presented it in Sitecore India Conference and other Sitecore groups as well. So this is the agenda for today, a very short and sweet. We'll see what exactly is the data migration in actual sense. We'll see when we talk about the data migration, what do you mean by data migration in the Sitecore? And then we'll see what are the different 15 ways to do the content migration in Sitecore here. And at last, we'll take the queries and questions. So what is data migration process? So data migration is the process of transferring data from one storage system to another, or it may be from one format to another, where the ultimate aim is to upgrade or consolidate or to modernize the final system. So this process can occur within a single organization or across the organization, or even between different data storage system and formats as well. The goal of the data migration is to ensure that all the data is accurately and efficiently transferred to the new system or format, and that data integrity is maintained throughout the process here. But when we talk about the data migration in Sitecore, we don't call it as a data, we call it as a content. And to store all this content, we are actually using the item. So content migration in Sitecore actually refers to the process of moving items from one Sitecore instance to the another. The goal of the content migration is to ensure that the content in the new environment is accurate, up to date, and consistent with the data in the previous environment. And to do the content migration, it can be a complex process, and it requires very careful planning, testing, and execution to ensure that all the data is properly moved and that there are no disruption to the website or to the other system that depend on the Sitecore environment here. Now, there are different ways to do that, but let's start with the first one, the manual one. So, which is the most common and easiest way. If you don't know any other tool, if you don't have any specialized tools or process here, then of course you can do the manual data migration here. So this process is suitable if you have small amount of data, and let's suppose you want to update something in your home item. So you can go into that your home item and you can do that updation very easily here and very straightforward. You don't need any tool or any specialized software here. Now the pros here are that as you are doing it as a manual, so you have the complete control. You know that what exactly you are doing it when you are updating any data or if you are creating a new item. As you are doing it manually, so by entering the content yourself, you can ensure that all the necessary information is entered correctly, which reducing the risk of the errors that could occur if the content was entered automatically. And it's a very familiar process, so everybody know about at least about the manual process, that how to do the updation into the Sitecore environment. The only challenge here is that if you have a very large amount of data, so it can be very time consuming process, and in that case, yeah, you have to take the extra efforts. So entering manually is the time consuming process here. If you are not doing it carefully, error can be there. So you may be fighting with your manager, or you can fight with your spouse. And at that time, if you are entering some data, so the error can be there. The other challenge here is that formatting issue. So let's suppose you are entering something in rich text field, and if there are some classes that you copied it from the other system as well. So in that case, yeah, formatting challenges can be there. So we have to do it in very careful manner here. The next one is the Sitecore packages. So this is most of the developers are prefer it. So here you can have your Sitecore items, you can have your files, and let's suppose you have some DLLs as well, or maybe roles. So you can combine all these one, and you can create a Sitecore package. So this is a way of taking a backup of your Sitecore work. So finally, it will create a archive file or zip file, which you can download it, and that you can share it with your client or with your colleagues, so they can install it on their target machine or maybe on your QA environment or production environment. So this is a very straightforward process here. The pros here is that it's out of the box feature that is provided by Sitecore, so you don't need any specialized software for it. Apart from the Sitecore items, you can also add the roles here, or some dependencies are there. For example, if you want to add some CSS or some JavaScript files here, or maybe views you want to add, you can add your DLLs as well here into these packages here. The another good thing here is that, let's suppose your client is asking for that, hey, we need last 1 week of the items that are created or updated by the content authors. So if you have such kind of weird requirement from your client, that also can be fulfilled by this package designer. So you can go there and you can add your items dynamically there. The cons here is that, let's suppose your package size is increased maybe 300 MB or to the 400 MB. Then at that time you may face the challenges here. So you are trying to install, and Sitecore is just trying to installing it from last 1 hour, but still this process is not completing. So many times, if for the heavy packages, this process is not very successful here. But yes, this is one of the most preferred way for taking the backup and do the data migration. The other tool, which is the admin tool, that's called Package Item. I'm sure you have never used it, but it's very useful. Maybe you will try it after our session. So the idea is that you can go to the administration tools within the Sitecore, and there are lots of administration tools, and one of the tools is the Package Item. So within this, you can go there and you can specify your database name, and then you can specify the item path here. So you have only 5 fields here. So you can specify the complete path of your item, which you want to take the backup here. So the idea here is that whatever the page item that you have, generally we are using it for the page item. So let's suppose you have the home item, and along with this home item, you want to add the dependencies here as well. For example, on the home item, the dependency items are maybe a template, a layout, maybe a renderings, maybe you have some layout files or some views. So it will combine all those one and create a package for you. So it's very good tool if you want to take the backup along with the dependencies. So for that, we can use this way. And finally, it's going to create a package which is a zip file, and that again you can share it with your client or with your colleague developers, which they can install it on their machine. So the pros here is that it's very easy to use because it's very straightforward. And as I said, you can create the packages with the dependents and the files that you have here. Along with that, you can also specify whether you want the child items here or not. So that also we can specify here. The cons here is that, as this is the administration tools, so you require the special admin access for it. And on the production environment, if you have content authors, so they don't have the access. Generally, they don't have the access of these admin pages. So this is generally accessible by the admin or maybe to the developers, so they can only work with this. So that's one of the cons that you have. You are going to get it with this package. The fourth one is the media upload watcher, and I just love this way to upload the images. So for example, let's suppose you are migrating it from PHP to the Sitecore, and you have maybe 200 or 300 images your client have provided you, and he is saying that, hey, just migrate it or upload it to the Sitecore. So then how will you do it? Maybe you can go there and you can go for some hard way. You can upload one media files at a time, and then you can upload it. Maybe you can create the multiple zip files. That also is the another way. But the most straightforward way is that you can go to your root directory in Sitecore. There you will get the upload folder, and within this upload folder, maybe you can create your own folder, and inside it you can copy paste your all the images. And what Sitecore will do, it will automatically take these images and create the Sitecore items as a media items in the Sitecore with the automatic naming convention and everything. So you will get your all the images as an item into the Sitecore instantly. It's super fast actually. So basically, Sitecore is using the file watcher internally, and the work of the file watcher is that it's constantly monitoring the target folder, and whenever anything is happening within this folder, it will do the operations at the target location. So this method is very powerful, and the pros here is that it's going to save you lots of time here, because now we are avoiding the manual process here. It's very consistent. So whenever you are uploading anything here, the naming convention that it's going to be used, that's our Sitecore standard. So it's very consistent, and it will not support all kind of files, but you can customize it. So developer can write the custom solutions to upload the certain particular extension related files. So that also you can upload it here. The cons here is that as you have to copy paste these files on your root folder, so they need the access of the operating system. So you need the access of this particular Sitecore where it's installed. So which content author, even the admin cannot access it. So it's only the developer job. Apart from that, there are few configurations that we need to do for doing these operations. And as I said, it's not support all kind of files. So that also one limitation, but yeah, we can override it by writing our custom solutions here. The another way is that you can use the express migration tool. So the idea here is that you have the two instances. Let's suppose you have your source instance and you have your target instance. So you can specify it within the express migration tool. It will ask you for their database locations. So it will do the migrations between the database to databases. So in that case, yes, you can use this express migration tool here. So the pros here is that it's a Sitecore developed tool, so you can rely on that. Its speed is super fast. As I said, it's work on the database to database level. And the last one is that along with the Sitecore items, so you can migrate your core items, you can migrate your master item. Along with that, you can migrate your file security and configuration files as well with this tool here. The cons here is that as it required the database access, and if you are including the files, then it required the Sitecore folder access as well. So that's why if you want to do it, then you have to do it. It's only work on the on-premises level. It's not going to work on the cloud or maybe on PaaS environment. This way is not going to be work here. And the other cons here is that it will only support, as a target version, it will only support the Sitecore 9, but there is a hack. So we have tried it with the Sitecore 10.3 as well, and it's worked like a charm. So the basic hack here is that whenever you have to select your source version, yeah, select it whatever it has. And within the target version, you have only one option, 9.0. So select it. And on the next step, it's going to ask you the target database location. So at that time, you have to provide the database connection string of Sitecore 10.3 or 10.2, whatever your target Sitecore instance is there. So specify that database location. It will automatically migrate the items from your source master database to the target master database. So we have tried it and it worked. And as I said, it's super fast because it will do the database to database migration. So speed here is very good actually. The next one is the Razor tool. It's a third-party tool. So this tool is developed by an organization called Hedgehog. But now that organization is the part of the Sitecore, and now this product is owned by the Sitecore Corporation. So what this tool will do, you have your source target Sitecore instance and you have your target Sitecore instance, and you can select their database here, like master database, and then it will provide you the complete content tree of both the instances, and then you can check which item you want to migrate, which you want as a sync. So you can compare these two and you can sync your items very easily here. Now the pros here is that it's very time consuming, because as you are using the tool, so you don't need to do it the manual migration. You just need to choose your options here. You just need to select what items you want, and this tool will do it everything for you. And the accuracy here is very good, that Razor ensure that data is migrated accurately and without error, which will help to maintain the data integrity and avoid the issues that can occur during the manual process. And it's very easy to use. So as Razor provides very easy user interface, so you can see here it's very easy, and that's what it simplifies that data migration process. So it's making it accessible to the developers with the different level of expertise. The cons here is that the cost. So as it's developed by the Hedgehog, which I said now it's a part of Sitecore, so you have to pay for it. So this tool is maybe you can also purchase it with the TDS as well, TDS plus Razor. So you can purchase it, but yes, cost is involved here. The dependency here, if you want to install it, so there can be some dependencies here for some prerequisite. And as you can see here, whenever you compare any item here, so it will give you the standard fields as well here. So you can see here created by revision. So to the non-technical users or content authors, it can disturb them that what are these fields here. So that's why it required a little bit technical knowledge to work on this tool here. We have the next one is the PowerShell, and we just love this module the day when it introduced in the Sitecore environment. So basically, you can write your PowerShell script within the Sitecore itself, and then you can do the data migration. So for example, I have shown here one script. So you have your CSV file. So you can load this CSV file into the variable, and you can use the loop here, and then within the loop you can get your fields or your data from that CSV field columns, and then you can put it. You can create a new item, and you can update those fields with this data, and you can create those items within the PowerShell here. So the best part with the PowerShell is that nowadays it's out of the box, that you will get it within the Sitecore, whether you are using the on-premises or PaaS or maybe XM Cloud as well. Within that as well, you will get the PowerShell as the default feature. And instead of writing the C# code, so if you are writing C# code, you have to either deploy the DLL or you have to deploy the ASPX pages where you write the code. But if you are putting the DLL, let's suppose you are deploying it on the production, so it may restart your Sitecore instances because of the web app or because of the IS. So whenever some DLL or config file is deployed in Sitecore, it will be restarted. So this process, PowerShell, is avoiding that kind of work here. So you can directly log in it maybe in your production CM environment, and you can just execute some PowerShell script and it will work. So no need to restart the Sitecore, or no need to deploy anything here. And even Sitecore it's using lots of time PowerShell script for some background functionality. For example, if you are working on the SXA, so lots of activities of SXA are actually driven or run by the PowerShell behind the scene. The cons here is that the learning curve. As you can see here, you have to write the code here, so which is different than the C#. So a learning curve is there. Second, let's suppose There are some security concerns here. So if you want to run your script in a remote fashion, then yeah, you may get the challenges in the security side. And if you are upgrading your Sitecore from older version to the new, and in your older version PowerShell is already there, so yeah, you have to upgrade your PowerShell modules as well in case of your Sitecore upgradation process. The eighth one is the Sidekick. So this is actually a tool, or you can say a module available on Sitecore Marketplace. So you can go there and you can download it. Even its code is available on the GitHub, so you can easily download and modify it as per your need here. So basically, the Sidekick is providing a module that you have to install it on your source and target Sitecore instances here. It provides one tool that's called Content Migrator tool that you can access it from Sitecore desktop. So you can go there, you can access that tool, and it will open this Content Migrator window here. And here you have to choose that where do you want to it will provide you the content that you want to get it from the Sitecore instances. And apart from that, it provides you lots of configurations of the options here, that whether you want to migrate the child items, whether you want to override any items, and if parent is not available, then what I have to do. So you can choose all these different options. Apart from that, it's providing you the preview option here. So you can see this preview option. Through this preview option, it will provide you that what exactly I will do it as the final migration. So it will provide you the legend here that if something is green, it means those items are available locally and remotely. If you will get this kind of square icon here, so it will say that yeah, there are some field changes here. So every icon here has some meaning here, and according to that, it will provide you the preview, and based on that, you can do the migration here. So the pros here is that it's going to save you lots of time, because now it's providing the preview. You can check what are the items that finally is going to be affected. It's very flexible here. So in the say that it's providing you lots of options to do the operations, and it's user friendly as it's providing very simple UI. Plus you can do the preview here. So this is very useful for the developers here. The cons here is that its complexity, because if you don't understand the meaning of these different options, if you don't do the changes on the configuration level, so then it's a little bit complex for the normal users. The security concerns are also there, because now it's a third-party tool and you are installing it on your source and target instances, maybe on your production instances, and the versioning issue can also be there. For example, you have downloaded Sidekick maybe for Sitecore 8 version, but for Sitecore 10.3, it's using something different. So the .NET Framework version or the DLL version may cause the compatibility issues here, but it's a good tool. The ninth is the Sitecore JSS. Now this is very unusual and very rare. So basically, we all know that if you are using the code first approach of the JSS, so it's providing the YML file where you can define all the contents with its field here, and then whatever the YML files you have, whatever the content or data file you have, so you can migrate or you can create those items into the Sitecore by firing these commands here. And what it will do, it will create all the Sitecore items automatically within by using these commands here. Now, how will you create this YML tool? So let's suppose you have CSV file, and let's suppose you have almost 100 items there in CSV file, and now you want to generate it as a YML in a YML file. So there is a tool available on the GitHub, so you can use it and you can create the YML files through those CSV. You just need to do the data mapping, and then you can fire this command, and it will be created into the Sitecore. So it's very easy. The second benefit here is that let's suppose you have one Sitecore items and inside that you have one image items as well. Okay, so that image entry you have specified it in a YML file that this is the media file or this is the image file that I want to migrate it into the Sitecore here. So in that case, it will first create this. It will first upload that image into the media library, and then it will automatically attach it with the Sitecore within the Sitecore environment here. In other methods, maybe it's a C# or maybe it's a PowerShell. You can choose any way here. The other, if you have some CSV file or if you have some data file, and if you want to migrate if there are images as well. So first you need to upload the images, you need to get its item ID, and then you have to use that item ID to create that item here. So we have to do it manually in other processes, but within the JSS, it will migrate your images as well along with this YML file. So this is the advantage that you will get it here. But again, this is not a very usual way that people are taking here because the complexity is high here because now you need to set up the JSS environment, you need to create a YML files, and then you have to migrate it. So it's complex. And the learning curve is also there because now you need to understand maybe React or Angular, and then you have to migrate it. So learning curve is also be a part of this process here. And if you are not referring some data, let's suppose you have within your JSS application, you have 10 images are there, but you are just referring 5. So rest of the 5 images are not going to be migrated into the Sitecore. So it's you have those images, but still those are not migrated by these commands here because you are not referring them. So there is a potential of the data loss here. The 10th one is the Sitecore OData services. So within this OData services, basically Sitecore is exposing the OData services API, and through this API, you can get the Sitecore content in terms of the JSON. Okay? It will expose all the data into the JSON formats here. So the external system, for example, a mobile application which want a very lightweight data, so they can use this JSON data. They can consume this API and they can utilize the JSON data to show something on their mobile app. So this is very lightweight, very straightforward, and the inbuilt feature of the Sitecore. So the data accessibility is very straightforward here into the JSON format. Whenever you are writing the OData services API, along with that you can pass the query string where it provide you the lots of options for querying the data. For example, you want let's suppose you want the home data, along with that you want its child data as well. So that also you can get. You can say that within the home item maybe there are 10 fields, but I just want 5 fields. So you can specify it through these queries here. You can sort it by the templates as well, or maybe you can filter it out your data based on the what is this? So you can filter out all the items or all the data by using the templates as well. So lots of queries, simplified data queries mechanism are available here. Apart from that, it's very useful if you are integrating the Sitecore with the external channels. The one example is the mobile app. The other one can be any lightweight systems. So you can easily share your Sitecore data with the external system through the HTTP or over the HTTPS protocol. The cons here is that limited functionality is there. For example, if you want to do some customization, you want to get the data from the multiple paths here, so that is not supported here within these queries. The other one is that this functionality is only available with the latest versions of the Sitecore. You will not get it in the older versions. So that is also one challenges. But yeah, you can upgrade your Sitecore instances and then you can use this feature. Another one is the C# code. So this is very useful in our older days. Yes, we are using the C# code. So before the PowerShell, people are heavily using the C# code to migrate the data here. So basically, let's suppose you want to get the data from the multiple channels, and now you want to process them, you want to filter them, and finally you want to send that data into the Sitecore. You want to create the items into the Sitecore. Then you can use the C# code. So for example, here also I have the CSV file here, which I am reading it, and then I am getting the reference of my master database, and then I'm using a loop where I'm creating all this data, and I'm utilizing this data to create my new items here. So the way PowerShell is working, you can also use the C# code here. The advantage here is the full control. So using the C# code, you can migrate your data, which give you the complete control over the process. You can write the custom codes to handle the complex data transformations, or maybe you can execute the multiple business logics as well. And you have the full access to your Sitecore API to create, update, and delete items as per your need. The flexibility here is very high. So with the custom code, you can tailor the migration process to your specific need. For example, you can map the fields in a custom way, skip certain items or data, or transfer data in a real time as needed. The cons here is the development time, because now you have to write the C# code, so which require the sufficient amount of time. So as development time is going to be increased here, so it's going to impact on the project cost as well here, and you require the C# experts or the developer here. Though Sitecore developers can also write it, but in some cases, yeah, you need the pure C# developer here. You are writing the custom code, so it's a little bit difficult to maintain and update over the period of time, especially if the code becomes very more complex or relies on some specific dependency, and it requires the certain libraries. In that case, yeah, maintenance can be a challenge for the period of time here. The error handling is the another section which you need to focus on, because now you are responsible for handling the error and exception that may arise during the migration process. So that's why it requires additional testing and debugging effort to ensure that data is migrated correctly and without any data loss or corruption here. So you have to also implement the logging here, so that you can see at what point the errors are occurred and what kind of errors are those. So you can check it on your logs here. So logging is very essential, and also you need to make a strategy here is that, for example, you are migrating 100 items, and after 15 items, some errors are occurred. So now what will you do with these 15 items that are already migrated? So will you recreate them, or will you overwrite them? So you have to make sure you have to cover those kind of use cases as well when you are writing this kind of C# code. The next one is the serialization. So serialization is the process where you want your Sitecore items in your operating system as a file. So you can use this file, you can keep this file into your code repository, and that's how you can share it with your team members. You can deploy those files on the other Sitecore instances, and then you can deserialize it, or you can update your content tree through those serialized files here. Now there are different ways to do the serialization. One of the way is the Sitecore standard serialization, out of the box serialization that is provided, which can be accessible from the developer menu. You can also do the serialization through the Unicorn, TDS, and Sitecore also started to provide the default as a Sitecore CLI-based serialization. That also you can use it. The pros here is that it's very easy to use. So if you are using the Sitecore serialization standard or the default mechanism, then it's super simple. You just need to select your item, and then you can say, I am to serialize my tree or serialize my item. So it will automatically create those items into the file system. You can keep these files into the version control, maybe in TFS, Git, or SVN. The portability is very high here, so you can copy these files from your Sitecore instance to the another Sitecore instances, and then you can recreate your tree at the target location. And you can do the automation here as well. So for example, serialized items can be exported and imported programmatically using PowerShell, which allow you to automate this process and save the time here. So manual option is there, but apart from that, you can do the automation, but automation requires the efforts here. So that's why people are, this process actually, they will do it as a manual. This process can be complex. This process can be complex. So for example, Sitecore serialization may not always handle the complex items or the items with the custom fields or functionality as expected. So that's why it's recommended you to test the serialization process on those type of the item where you are using the custom fields. So that is important and essential with the serialization. Otherwise, it's a very straightforward way, and we are using it in our multiple projects. The third thing is the update center. So Sitecore, for example, you are using the Windows machine. Maybe you have Windows 10 and you want to upgrade it, so you can upgrade it to the Windows 11. You don't need the another laptop or another machine. You can upgrade the same machine to the new operating system. So in the same way, if you have Sitecore instances, and let's suppose it's running on the Sitecore 9 series, and you want to upgrade it to the Sitecore 10, so you can use this update center. The idea here is that it will upgrade your Sitecore instance, plus it provide you it will also provide you the option to upgrade the modules as well. So if you have installed some Sitecore modules, then it can upgrade that as well. So it will automatically download it, install it, and do the necessary work or do the necessary steps for upgrading your Sitecore instances. So this is the out-of-the-box feature that you can use it. And as I said, it's like a Windows upgrade. And apart from this, it's Sitecore upgradation. It will also upgrade the instances modules as well that you are using. The only challenge is that it's not available before Sitecore 9, and it's also not available in Sitecore after Sitecore 10 series. So for example, it's available on Sitecore 10.1. I think available on 10.2 as well, but in 10.3, the update center is not there. And apart from that, whenever you do the update center, you have to always take the backup of your config files and the DLLs, because it may overwrite those config files. So you may lose the data, or you may lose your settings here. So take those backup first and then do this upgrade through the update center here. The 14th is the Sitecore Data Exchange Framework. So for example, let's suppose you have the external applications or external system, for example, Microsoft Dynamics or maybe a Salesforce, and you want to export import data from those systems to the Sitecore, then you can use the data exchange framework here. You will get different APIs that you can consume, and you can develop your own connector. Plus, Sitecore is also providing, even the Sitecore community is also providing the connectors which you can use it. Some connectors are available on GitHub as well. So the pros here is that the integration. So Sitecore DF enable integration with a wide range of systems, including popular CRM, which can help you to provide a seamless experience for website visitor. It's a time saving because there are lots of pre-built connectors available, and apart from that, you can develop your own connectors, and it will also provide the mapping capability here. The scalability is also one of the scenario where you can use it. So you can design this data exchange framework to handle the large volume of the data, and which is very useful for any organization where high traffic will, especially for the high traffic website. The cons here is the complexity. So because to set up this framework, you need to configure lots of things, and if you don't have a good Sitecore resources, then it can be challenging part. Now to implement it, you have to understand it. If you don't understand it, then you have to learn it. So learning curve is also one of the challenges here, where you need a good level of understanding of this tool. And over the period of time, you have to maintain it. For example, in the source and target system, some fields are modified or some fields are newly introduced. So according to that, you have to do the modification in your data exchange framework. And in that case, your maintenance cost is going to be increased. And the final one is the upgrade the Sitecore database. So this is the one of the recommended way where you want to completely upgrading your Sitecore instances. Then Sitecore provide you the SQL scripts and the files that you can run those scripts. You can copy paste those files, and you can upgrade your entire Sitecore database itself, which is giving you a good way to move it to the newer version of the Sitecore here. Now the pros here is that you have the access of the new feature. For example, whenever you are upgrading the database, it may provide you the access to the new feature or functionality that were not available in the previous versions of the Sitecore. Upgrading the databases can help you to ensure that your website remains secure by addressing the known security vulnerabilities in the previous version of the Sitecore. And as you have upgraded it to the latest version, so you will get the on this latest version of Sitecore, you will continue to receive the support from the Sitecore for any challenges. The cons here is that cost, because upgrading the Sitecore database can be costly, particularly if there are significant changes to the database schema or if additional hardware is required. Maybe your older versions are working on the lower versions of this SQL server, but now you require the newer version. So yeah, you need to purchase the SQL licenses in that case, which is going to increase the cost. The complexity, because if there are significant changes to your database schema or there are any customization that you have done, so you have to take the consideration of that as well. The downtime here is also a case that you need to take care, because whenever you are upgrading your Sitecore instances, you may require some downtime, which may impact your website availability. The compatibility issue. So, for example, upgrading the Sitecore database may result in the compatibility issue, especially with the customization or third-party integrations that were developed for the previous version of the Sitecore. So these are the 15 different ways. Let's summarize it. So we saw the manual where you can manually update or upgrade your Sitecore instances. The Sitecore packages, so you can create a zip file and you can install it on any Sitecore target instances. You have the developer tool, so here also you can create the zip file as a package. The advantage here is that you can also get the dependencies and the descendant items as a part of this package. If you have a large amount of files, then you can use the Sitecore. You can just copy paste those images into the upload folders of the Sitecore root locations, and then Sitecore will automatically upload all the images into the Sitecore. You can use the Express migration tool where it will do the database to database migration, and it's super fast. And as I say, it's only supported till Sitecore 9, but as a hack, you can just specify the connection string of Sitecore, maybe Sitecore 10.3 for the master database, and it will create those items into your master database. You can use the Ryzen where it's a third-party tool. You have to purchase it, and then you can compare your two Sitecore instances for their master database, and then you can sync your items there through this tool. PowerShell, where you can write your PowerShell scripts to migrate data or to get the data from other sources to the Sitecore. For example, you have CSV file, so you can load that CSV file and you can then create the Sitecore items. Sidekick, it's one of the modules that is available on Sitecore Marketplace. So you can install it on both the Sitecore instances on your source and target, and then you can configure it, and then you can pull the data from your source to the target. JSS, so you can create the YML files, and within this YML file you can also specify the image references as well. So it will automatically migrate your images and will assign those images into the items as well. You can use the Sitecore OData services, so you can expose your Sitecore data in terms of the JSON file, which will be consumed by the external channels over the HTTP or HTTPS protocol. You can write the C# code where you can get the data from multiple sources, which you can process it, transform that data, and then finally you can create the items into the Sitecore with this new data that you have. You can use the serialization where you are creating the files in your operating system level for your Sitecore items, and through those files you can then deserialize it. You can recreate your content tree later on. You can also keep it into your code repositories as well. Update center is like the upgrading it your Windows machine, so you can upgrade your current Sitecore instance, plus it will also upgrade the installed module as well with the part of this update. You can use the data exchange framework where you have some external application and you want to export import data, so you can use this data exchange framework. Connectors are available on this. And upgrade the database where you take the master or core database of the Sitecore. You have to run these scripts provided by Sitecore, and in that case you can upgrade the Sitecore databases. So these are the final 15 ways of content migration in Sitecore. If you want, you can take the screenshot of this slide, which is a single slide reference for all the migration available in Sitecore. Which one is my favorite? So I basically use these three. These are very good. The Sitecore packages, yeah, I always do that. PowerShell, if I have to create, if I have some raw file and then I have to do serialization, yeah, we are doing it in every project. Apart from that, we can also consider the upgrade database, and the express migration tool is also one of my favorite, where I have to just migrate the content from the older version of the Sitecore, and if the images are there, then yeah, I'm using it. So these are few of the ways that are my favorite, but it's ultimately depend on the scenario or on the use case. So you cannot apply this selected one in every use case. So in every requirement, we have to choose the best tools and techniques that we know, which will take the lesser time, which are easy and which can save our efforts as well. So depend on the situations, yeah, suggestions are always changing, but yeah, these are the preferred ones that I have just marked. And yeah, that's it from my side. If you have any question or if you want to ask anything, then yeah, the forum is open.